What's going to be the most difficult thing you think about this? What has been the most difficult medical problem that you've had in terms of it?
Well, we've seen, a whole variety of stuff, and initially the communications really weren't very good with getting people out of here down to the hospital, but since we got the hospital set up and, getting people evacuated as need be, things are much smoother. But we've seen a lot of infections, and we're set up, for things like kids freaking out. I mean, that's easy. But when it comes to, real medical stuff, we can, do simple emergencies, but we can't do any prolonged type of thing, and we have to get people out of here.
There was a great problem just a few days ago, but it's beginning to improve.
Yeah, it's beginning to improve now. There was a problem in getting supplies. We got enough supplies now, but the first day or so, especially with the rain coming down, I mean, it really looked like this was going to be like a complete disaster. But things are really working. A lot of
people are helping out.
Yeah, lots of people have just, come up and, offered to help. And we've got, guys from, there's a couple of medics from the Army and Navy, who are here. They're working, and, a lot of nurses and, people, with all sorts of training and no training who come around.
What kind of, there are going to be a lot of people right here now that are going to be watching this. What kind of advice would you give people in terms of being careful about things and stuff like that just would see this, just in terms of what are some of the complaints about drinking water or whatever,
Well, one really common thing is that we must have seen about 300 cases of kids who come in with cuts on their legs. And, this area here is a pretty crummy place to go around barefoot. And, the one thing that would just have saved a lot of time if, people took care of, how they were walking around here.
There's a lot. What about the water? Is there any problem with the water still, or?
Well, there's a lot of chlorine in the water, and a lot of people have been very sensitive to that amount of chlorine. We've gotten a lot of upset stomachs because of it. And, that problem still exists. There's, more sodas and, other stuff to drink around now, so people aren't drinking that so much.
Is there still bad acid around? Are you getting much of that kind?
Well, no one knows if it was bad acid or just that, people who took it, really weren't ready for, tripping up here. Because there's this thing going around that, an announcement was made that the acid that a lot of people had taken had poison in it. And, anyone who's having, a little bit of a rough time with an acid trip, all of a sudden hears, it's poison, they're going to freak out. And, that's what's happening. There's a lot of paranoia, it's caused by, rumors about what's happening, with the acid that's here.
Great.
Excuse me, what station do you work for?
Movement City Media. We're going to play this right back. It's an immediate communications feedback right into this whole thing. Let's go, man.
This is routine.
Our splinter expert is currently indisposed.
You have a lot of stuff over the...
What did you see out there? What was the problem? What's going on at the main place?
Wait a minute, which one? The hospital?
The hospital, yeah.
The hospital. Well, the hospital was finally set up yesterday afternoon to deal with serious medical problems that we couldn't just do any patch-up work with, but had to have ongoing medical treatment and to evacuate anybody who was in imminent critical condition.
We're all working on this.
We didn't have that the first 2 days, and we insisted that it had to be set up and that supplies had to be brought in. They were finally brought in yesterday afternoon.
What happens when someone goes? If someone has to go to the hospital? What do they do?
Well, they're helicoptering them out.
They're helicoptering them out.
Yeah, right.
They don't really have hospital facilities there.
No, what we do have there is kind of like a field hospital. If you wanted to compare it to the Army, right? This isn't even phase 1 because we couldn't treat any real trauma here. An ex-Army nurse.
But, to set this hospital up, we had to bring in a plane. We had to make them charter a plane to bring doctors from New York, or else we just wouldn't have had the staff to make a hospital.
How come they didn't think of doing that? Was it the numbers, or what?
Well, if we had any real idea of anything like the number of people they expected, we would have asked them to make a lot more available. They had hired a staff of local physicians and nurses, but either they weren't being straight with them or what, because they didn't make it clear how many people were going to be here.
And also what kind of cases they were going to have.
Well, but you have to expect any and every kind of case when you have so many people together.
Are they handling any of the... You've just been down at the hospital. Are they handling everything?
They have severe burn cases. They're running them out. They're having to bring in planes because they're having restrictions. The Army helicopters will only go to Monticello. They won't deviate from that. Total bureaucratic procedure.
Bureaucratic shit that only hurts people in the end.
Yeah, so we have cases down there with... You sent somebody down with appendicitis from here, right? They're having to bring in outside planes and fly them out. I've been going back and forth getting supplies from them.
They said a lot of the trouble was cars, really ramming people on the road. People can't get out of the way. I saw
maybe they're making a connection.
somebody do that. Trucks, stopping short and people falling off and people not getting out of the way.
What about the sanitation? Is that holding up all right?
Look.
Is things clean enough?
Back on the back hill, they've got, I brought 3 trucks up this morning. They've got sanitation trucks emptying these latrines, taking it up, pumping it out, putting it in a big dish that they have way up on the back hill in the woods, and burying it, and then they're coming back and putting water with chemical in and refilling these latrines, so it's totally sanitary. There's no problem with it.
Yeah, I think they're keeping up with that.
Absolutely. If there's any problem, it's a water problem, getting water in it. That's been a problem.
And the garbage problem is under control in this area. It's probably in the big area where all the people are that it's, that's a mess.
It's pretty bad in the business area over there.
We're doing all right over here.
Well, this area is pretty together.
Why do you think this area is better than the other? Is it because it's less crowded?
Cohesive.
There's less bad vibrations.
Hog
over
farm
there.
cohesiveness.
Right. The hog farm, central office is here, and their vibe spread out over the whole camp area here.
This place is a community over on this end of things. It's really nice. We've really gotten along well. People have cooperated in keeping the place clean. People have helped other people with bum trips. It's really been a good thing.
And we've had food over here and water for people who've needed it, and a lot of really good vibes around here. Yeah, there's not as much mud. People have kept clean. We've had first aid facilities so people feel comfortable. And there's water. And there's also music, there's music right over there that people hear all the time.
But I think there's also the problem that over in the main area there are so many people that there are a lot more freakouts over there because the kids were taking acid trips, and a lot of the kids were kind of lonely when they came up here, and they got caught in the crowd and couldn't really find their way out. Either they couldn't find friends, and so they really had to come to hospital facilities because that was the only thing that was available to them. And there are a lot of young, scared kids who've come up here and didn't know quite what to expect.
Think we're going to have a lot of people staying here?
That's what we've heard. There are a lot of people who, first of all, it's doubtful about when people can get out by road. And then there are a lot of people who seem to be ready to pack in for several days. One problem is we're not going to have any medical facilities, or very few medical facilities, after tomorrow morning.
Really? You mean they're just going to pull everything out?
Well, Don might know more about that.
Well, basically, most of the medical staffing here is volunteer, and they all have patients back in their own, bailiwick that they're responsible to also. They came up on the weekend, to volunteer because they had the weekend, and they're just going to not be able to do it beyond tonight. So most of the people from New York are flying back tonight. And really we're going to be able to keep a couple of our people are going to stay on another day or two. And, hopefully we'll be able to deal with most of that. First of all, maybe some of the traffic will be cleared up so we can move people out if need be. And if they keep the helicopters another couple of days, we'll be able to deal with emergencies more or less. And if they keep some of their hired staff on, medical staff, they may be able to cope, but I still think there are going to be too many people here.
What about the transportation bus? Anybody know anything about that?
That's unclear.
How are we going to get out?
I think what they're trying to do, people are moving out slowly, and so far nothing's built up to any, crisis proportions again, and like it's slow, and they hope that is the way it'll continue, and that's when they start the show today. They're going to try and lay that rap on of people should move out slowly and not try to make it all at once and hang around till late tonight or leave tomorrow morning or tomorrow during the day. And if they do that, obviously that's not feasible. I mean, if it took them so long to get everybody in, it's going to have to take them almost as long to get everybody out.
If you can look around here, it doesn't look like people are breaking camp. I mean, it's obvious that their tents are up for a while.
We'll go over to the other place. Come over and see it. These are being run back almost immediately.
Oh my
These are being
gosh.
played almost immediately. I have a runner just going back. And they'll be played over and over
What do
again.
you mean? You have a
You mean the videotape?
Yeah.
What's this? Right.
And what does it do? It inject. It goes right.
Right. It goes right back there. It's played back over there. And your information is being played to people as it goes by.
Wow.
You understand?
Well, let's go run over and see.
Are you going to say, does that stuff get preserved to be used for the future? Are you newsreel people?
Newsreel? Far out, definitely.
Are you making a movie?
This is videotape. It's different. It's immediate communication. This is supposed to have a real purpose. Like, that's why I asked you like I asked, what do you do if this happens?
Yeah. Oh, well, if that's the case, then we should give people a couple of warnings to stay out of the sun if they can, because they're going to get very badly burned, and we don't dry, and we don't have the water or the medication to take care of that. People should remain out of the sun and conserve their water for later if they can.
One of the nicest features we've got here, I don't know if you've seen it yet, was the bum trip centers. Have you?
Yeah, we went over there. What do you think about it?
Oh, I've been working in it. I dig it. I think it's really a good idea.
Why? What's so great about it?
Well, for one thing, like we can tell people or show people that mainly bad trips are not the acid. It's all in the head, and it's the way you look at a thing. And, we've had nobody leave that place that has had a bum trip. They may have been bumming on the way in, but they were grooving on the way out.
People should also wear shirts and hats if they have them. That's very important to keep down the sun.
People to keep on their shoes. We've seen hundreds and hundreds of cut feet. And if people would just keep on their shoes, that we could eliminate 90% of that.
That's where the new social revolution gets in the way of medical information, right?
Well, at least if they're going to walk around up there where the old social habits are still present, they got to keep
But the
their
first
shoes on.
thing they did is make everybody wear shoes, So it's just, a good idea here, too.
Yeah. Maybe wearing shoes has nothing to do with the revolution.
But the latrine situation is improved and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of kids in acid and shit like that. One kid died of heroin overdose. Yeah, another guy died. He was run over, I believe. The Army's really done a great job, People understand calling them pigs and shit like that, and it's not right, They've done a good job.